So today we are going to go through. Yesterday we were not able to finish because randomized control trial is very broad, and then we are trying to better and then improve on their health. So let's say a type of new cancer treatment is coming, and then they are testing to see its efficacy. When you are giving parallel intervention, when you give group A the actual intervention, which is the drug itself, you give group B the placebo, you don't switch. They will take it till the end of the project. You don't switch. They will take it till the end of the project. So that is the power. There is no crossing between them. And then we have the crossover. So with the crossover, maybe you give the group A the drug for the first 6 months. Then you switch for the second 6 months. Group B will be given the drug, and then group A will take the placebo. So that is the crossover. You give these people for some time, then you cross and give to these people for some time, then you try to check for the association between that. Pictorial representation of randomized control trial. So first you assess the eligibility. So you try to look on your inclusion and then exclusion criteria to recruit your people, to know who is eligible to partake in your study. So you assess them. So those that they will be ineligible, you just exclude them from the study, and then those that they are eligible, you include them into your study. So that is enrollment. So let's say you've enrolled 1,000 participants into your study. So with 1,000 participants, you then come to group them into 2 or more. So let's say here we are using two groups. So you want to group them into 500, 500. But you can't say you go here, you go here, you go here, go here. That would be bias. So you do random selection based on either simple random or computer generated or the stratified. You use any of them to group your people into the intervention and then the control arm of the study. So then you can follow them to see what will happen to them. So with the types of study that best suit for randomized control trial, one is clinical trial. So you are testing for the efficacy and then the safety of a medication. The efficacy and then the safety of a new medication, drug, or medical instrument. So with the safety, you are checking to see if when people take the drug, will it have any adverse effects on their health. That is the safety of the intervention. And then to the efficacy, you are testing to see if the drug is able to perform what is expected to do. That is the efficacy of the drug. So these clinical trials best fit for randomized control trial designs. Then we have behavioral intervention. So behavioral intervention, you are assessing the lifestyle of or behavior change in people. So you are checking for people their diet and then also their physical activity level. So these are behavioral interventions. So those that they take in more caloric foods or junk foods against people who do not take caloric or junk food. So most of the types of behavioral intervention One is people who eat at night. So you are checking to see people who eat at night. The moment they eat, they are going to sleep. You are checking to see if they would, comparing them to with people who eat before 5, to see their chance of developing cardiovascular disease and then most of the non-communicable diseases. So these are types of an intervention study. So behavioral studies are one of the studies that you can use for randomized control trial. And then we have public health and then policy studies. So policy studies can be the school feeding program. So countries that practice school feeding program, you can compare with other countries that do not practice school feeding program to see their retention in terms of absenteeism, and then also the nutritional status of the school people, and then academic performance. Yes, so these are policies. Normally we use randomized control trial to test for policies to see if they will work. Then we come to the strength of randomized control trial. So in randomized control trial, randomization eliminates selection bias. So in randomized control trial, there is nothing like selection bias. Everybody gets equal chance to be recruited in your study. There is no selection bias because it is very rigorous. And then also it is the gold standard for determining treatment efficacy. If you want to know what intervention work best, it is randomized control trial that can give you that. So if you want to test for cars or machines that can work at a very high temperature regions, then you need to do randomized control trials. Then you'll be able to determine among this machine and then this machine, which of them is able to work under very high temperature region. So it is randomized control trial that can give you that. I really love randomized control trial because it is very interesting. It is able to let you know what is actually happening. And then also, adhering to strict protocols enhance reliability, because here there is nothing like confounding variables. Everything is systematically arranged, nothing like confounding variables that will influence your results to not make it reliable and then also feasible sometimes. So here, because of the protocols that we follow, it is very key, and then it makes your results very reliable. And then with the limitations, strict inclusion criteria may not represent broad population. So sometimes because of the strict restriction in it, you may not get a lot of people to recruit, unlike other studies that, like ecological study, that is done at the community and then the national level. And then also in randomized control trial, it is very expensive, very expensive. Example is clinical trial. You need to go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. If you are lucky, then if the disease or the condition is very real and then it needs emergency, then you go through the phase O. So it is very expensive to be conducted. And then also, trials with negative or unclear results are less likely to be published, because sometimes the studies that you are performing, because it is a trial that you are doing, sometimes the things that they are looking for become unclear. They don't become difficult to understand some of the aspects and then the reasons behind that. So you need to do further studies in order to understand them. You need to explore more. So we continue with the limitations. So trials are considered ethical only if there is genuine uncertainty within the medical community without the best course of treatment. So if there is a robust treatment there is no need for any clinical trial. So in conclusion, in randomized control trial, we recruit participants and then group them. We use randomization to group them into intervention and then control group. Then we follow them to see what the intervention will have on them, or what influence will the intervention be upon their life. So that is what we do at randomized control trial. So follow Chapman Academy. This is a platform for you to know everything about research writing, what to do in research writing. Recommend Chapman Academy for your friends, your families, everybody to learn about research writing. Chapman Academy. See you there. So this is the part 2 of randomized control trial. So get time and then learn more things about randomized control trial.